As Princess Catherine shares an inspirational holiday message, Harry and Meghan will not be invited to the royal family Christmas this year. So much to talk about with Patricia Treble, who's here for another royal roundup. Good morning, Patricia.
Good morning.
We're going to start with Kate's emotional message in her Christmas concert, which is coming up this Friday.
Yeah, so the taping is this Friday, Westminster Abbey, 1,600 people, and everyone's going to get this message from Kate. Really heartfelt message, and she's talking about love is the light in our darkest of times. And of course, the family's been through really dark times this year. And it's also the message for Christmas. She's always talked about how Christmas is her favorite time of year. And this is the message she's been talking about for the whole year, that turn to love, not fear.
Okay, all right. Having said all that, it looks like, though, Harry and Meghan will not be invited to Christmas.
They are not going to be. So this is now going to be the 5th year in a row they've had Christmas in North America, because of course in 2019 they were in Vancouver Island and then went down to California. No, they are not being invited. I'm going to say at the beginning of the year, I was actually quite optimistic that there would be these little moments of rapprochement and maybe leading up to Christmas at Sandringham with the family. But as the year went on, it just became increasingly clear that the divisions are, and it's just deep, deep divisions, and they're not talking to each other.
Hard to believe it's already been 5 years. Yes, I know. Time flies. All right. Reports, we were talking about this off the top of the show, speaking of Harry and Meghan, that Meghan has got big plans for 2025. Yep. What can you tell us about both her TV comeback and her official brand launch? Well,
and as you guys said, she's been taping the Netflix series. We know it's a lifestyle series. We know very little else. I mean, there's been a little bit of video, but very little, nothing official. Apparently, it's coming in the spring, which makes sense. It takes about 9 months to turn it around. The question is a big question, is she going to have her brand available? So American Riviera Orchard, they launched it in March of last year. She has had no end of trademark problems. She still has not got her trademark locked. The trademark office rejected it in September for a variety of reasons. She just applied for a 3-month extension, which would bring it to the beginning of next year. Here's the problem. If she can't resolve the problems, she has to start over. This is a one-and-done extension. And you need the brand, you need all the branding to do the products for the show. So she might be launching that show without the products.
Okay. All right. We'll watch for this. Meanwhile, still with Harry and Meghan, Harry's still very concerned over his family's safety if and when they visit the UK.
Yep. And this kind of came out because he is appealing the security decision that he lost earlier this year about his level of protection when how they measure it when he's in the UK. He's apparently bringing Taylor Swift into the issue. Taylor Swift on her last concert tour in Britain had huge, heavy security. And he's saying that shows the differences. He's not being treated as fairly as other people who have security issues. I'm a little skeptical about this claim because, of course, Taylor Swift, there had been the credible terrorist threat. She had to cancel all those tour dates in Austria. So that could be the reason for all this heavy security. We'll see what a judge says.
Okay, we will watch with interest as that moves forward. And speaking of, what is the latest when it comes to Harry and his legal battle with the tabloids?
Yeah, he and his lawyers are going to be in and out of courts for the next year or so. So not only do we have the trial that's starting next month against the Sun tabloid, but we heard more about one that's been percolating, which is against the publishers of the Daily Mail. It turns out the costs for Harry and 6 other plaintiffs and the Daily Mail, the combined costs of going to trial in 2026, $70 million is the estimate. Now, here's the issue, is that in Britain, if you lose a civil case, you have, in whole or apart, you have to pay the other side's costs. So that is a lot of money on the line. And that could explain why Harry and only another person are the only plaintiffs left in that Sun case. Everyone else has dropped out in the last few months. It's just too expensive. They've all settled.
Okay. All right, finally, as we all get ready for the holidays, it sounds like Prince Louis is going to be a real-life little drummer boy.
Exactly. Oh, man, every parent goes through this. What is your child going to pick as a musical instrument? And 6-year-old Louis has picked the drums.
Of course he did. Of course Louis did.
What else would he do?
So we found this out at a charity event William was with. He was talking with 2 very well-known musicians, Ron Wood of the Rolling Stones, Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits. And he revealed that, yep, Louis is doing the drums. Now, I'm going to say, I'm sure their parents were driven slightly batty by their playing, and they turned out okay. William has said he puts his fingers in his ears a lot. I'm going to say my tip, construction grade earplugs.
Good idea.
Absolutely the way to go.
I'm not even sure if that'd be good enough. I grew up next to somebody learning the drums. And
Oh.
you could hear it in the house next door.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think actually the new AirPods, Apple's new AirPods are noise
Are they?
canceling. So there you go.
There you are.
There you have it.
I don't know. What's the tougher instrument, do you think, to learn, though? Drums or violin for a child? Both are
I don't know.
could be tough on the ears.
But for me, it was recorder. I think I drove my mother around the bend.
I played the trumpet.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah. Maybe next week for the Royal Roundup, you could trumpet Patricia Treble in.
No.
No?
Last name Treble, not so musical.
All right. Thank you, Patricia.